So have you ever gone to your own website? Like, you click on it, you're excited to see something, and then
Yeah.
it just takes forever to load.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, wading through molasses trying to get to the content. Super frustrating, right? And I'm betting I'm not the only one who feels this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a real turnoff for anyone visiting your site too, potential customers, clients, whoever. And honestly, it could be hurting you in ways you haven't even thought about, like seriously impacting your bottom line.
Yeah.
So today we're going deep on something I'm calling a website detox.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's all about taking control, getting your site to actually perform like it's supposed to.
It's a really common issue, especially for people using WordPress, which, let's be honest, is a lot of us. And often the culprit is, well, you've got too much stuff going on.
Too much stuff, like what?
Plugins.
Plugins.
Right. It's so easy to think, oh, this plugin will solve all my problems and just keep adding more and more. But
then your site becomes this digital hoarder house.
yeah, exactly. It's bogged down with all this extra stuff it doesn't need. And that's what we want to dissect today. We're going to help you figure out which plugins are the real troublemakers, the ones causing all the slowdown.
And then more importantly, how to get rid of them. Right, like spring cleaning for your website.
Exactly, decluttering. And the awesome thing is, this isn't just about getting a faster website, although, let's face it, that's a huge win.
Huge.
It's also about better security, making things easier for your visitors to use. You're going to be amazed at the difference it makes.
Okay, so first things first. If we're going to do this detox right, we've got to start with an honest assessment.
Yeah.
We need to take a good, hard look at all those plugins you've got installed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a full-on plugin audit.
Couldn't agree more. It might not be the most glamorous task, but it is absolutely essential. You need to understand that not all plugins are created equal. Some can be really beneficial, but others, well, they can actually be hurting your site without you even realizing it.
So what kind of damage are we talking about here?
Oh, we're talking about the big stuff.
Yeah.
Slow load times, those spinning wheels of doom that make everyone click away.
Ugh, I hate those.
We all do. Then you've got plugins that just don't get along with each other. They clash, they create conflicts, things start breaking.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It can be. And then security.
Oh, right. Plugins can be a security risk.
A big one. Some plugins have vulnerabilities that hackers can exploit to get into your site. And if they get in, well, that's a whole other can of worms. And then beyond all that, you've got to think about how plugins can affect things like your conversions. If your site is slow and clunky because of too many plugins, people are less likely to stick around, less likely to buy your products, sign up for your email list, all that good stuff.
It's like that junk drawer everyone has, the one where you throw all the random things thinking, oh, I might need this someday. But then it just overflows with stuff you don't even remember you have. And I feel like plugins can be the same way. You install one for a specific reason, but then maybe you don't need it anymore, or you find a better solution. But that old plugin, it's just sitting there taking up space.
And using up resources and potentially making your site vulnerable. That analogy is spot on. But it's actually worse with plugins because they're not just cluttering up a physical drawer. They're actively running code in the background, whether you need them to or not. And thankfully, there are tools out there that can help you figure out which plugins are the real resource hogs.
Okay, tell me about these tools.
All right, so one of them is called Query Monitor. It's super helpful because it shows you which plugins are making a ton of requests to your website's database, and that can really slow things down. Imagine it like this. You've got a bunch of apps open on your computer, and some of them are constantly asking for information, making everything else sluggish. That's what some plugins do to your website. And then there's WT Hive. This one's really cool because it gives you insights into how a particular plugin has affected the performance of other websites. It can also flag any compatibility issues so you know if a plugin is likely to cause problems. Basically, it's like checking the reviews before you download an app.
So these tools can really help you pinpoint those plugins that are quietly messing things up in the background.
Precisely. They give you that behind-the-scenes look that you wouldn't get otherwise. And it's important to remember that in today's world, a slow website is basically a death sentence for your marketing efforts. People are impatient and they have a ton of options. If your site takes too long to load, they're going to bounce. They're going to go somewhere else and you've lost a potential customer. So this plugin audit, it's not just about keeping your website tidy. It's about making sure your site can actually do what it's supposed to do. Attract visitors and convert them.
It's about getting results.
Exactly. And if you zoom out a little, think about it. For many people, your website is their first impression of your business. What kind of impression are you making if your site is slow and buggy? It doesn't exactly scream professionalism or trustworthiness, does it? So once you've taken a hard look at your plugins and identified the ones that are causing trouble, it's time to get to the good stuff. Simplifying.
Ah, yes. Simplification. Less is more, right?
You got it. This is where we start clearing out the clutter. If a plugin isn't bringing you joy, and by joy I mean helping you achieve your goals, get rid of it.
It's like Marie Kondo for your website.
Right. And the basic idea here is this. Fewer plugins means less code running in the background, which means fewer chances for things to conflict, fewer vulnerabilities for hackers to exploit. It's all about streamlining.
Okay, so give me some concrete examples. How do we actually go about simplifying?
Well, a lot of people use a bunch of different SEO plugins, for things like keywords, links, schema markup. You've got one for this, one for that. It gets messy.
It does get messy.
But a lot of times, you can replace all those individual plugins with one all-in-one solution, something like Rank Math. It covers a whole range of SEO tasks, so you can ditch those 5 other plugins and keep things nice and tidy.
Ah, I see. So consolidating.
Exactly. Another common one is page builders. Now, page builders can be really powerful. They let you do some really cool stuff with your design. Elementor is a popular one.
Yeah, Elementor.
But for a lot of people, they're overkill. They add a lot of extra code and complexity that you might not actually need, and that can slow your site down. For simpler sites, or even just specific sections of your site, you might be better off using the built-in Gutenberg blocks that come with WordPress.
What's the advantage of Gutenberg blocks? I hear a lot of people talking about those.
They're much leaner and faster than a lot of those complex page builders. They're designed to be more streamlined, more efficient. They're also built with modern web standards in mind, so they tend to perform better and scale better as your site grows.
So it's like choosing a lightweight car over a gas-guzzling SUV if all you're doing is driving around town, right?
Exactly. Choose the tool that fits the job.
This makes me wonder, why did we even end up with so many plugins in the first place? I mean, wouldn't it be better if WordPress just had all these features built in from the beginning?
Yeah, you'd think so, right? But WordPress started out pretty basic. It was a blogging platform. Plugins were a way for developers to add extra features and functionality, let people customize their sites, and it worked really well. It made WordPress super flexible. But I think somewhere along the way, we got a little plugin happy. We started using them for everything, and now we're dealing with the consequences.
We've become digital hoarders.
Pretty much. But the good news is we can change that. We can break the cycle.
So for some people listening, they might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but my site is a mess. It's like trying to bail water out of a sinking ship with a teaspoon.
It can feel that way sometimes.
Yeah. They're constantly dealing with updates that break things, plugins that conflict with each other. They've tried everything to speed up their site, and nothing seems to work.
Yeah.
What do you say to those folks?
Well, for those folks, it might be time to consider a more radical solution. It might be time to switch to a completely different platform, something like Webflow.
Webflow, okay.
Yeah, Webflow is built differently. It has a lot more features baked right in, so you don't need as many plugins.
So it's more self-contained.
Exactly.
Cool.
It's less about patching things together and more about having a solid foundation from the start. The code tends to be cleaner, faster, and there's less to go wrong.
So for those people who feel like they're constantly battling their website, Webflow might be the answer.
It's definitely worth considering. It's a different way of thinking about website building, but whether you stick with WordPress or try something new, the principle of simplification still applies. It's about getting rid of the excess baggage.
Decluttering.
Exactly. And once you've tackled your plugins, there's another important step: regular cleanup. Think of it like digital housekeeping.
Oh, I love a good cleaning spree.
Right. So remember that overstuffed storage unit we talked about? Over time, your website accumulates a lot of junk, too. Old revisions of your blog posts, spam comments, things you've deleted but haven't actually gotten rid of. It's all still there, taking up space.
Cluttering things up.
And it can really slow your site down. It's like, Imagine if you never took out the trash in your house.
Oh, gross.
Right. That's what it's like for your website.
So how do we do this digital cleaning? What are our tools?
Well, first of all, make sure you're actually deleting themes and plugins you're not using. Don't just deactivate them, delete them. Get them off your server completely. And then there are tools that can help you clean up your website's database, things like WP Optimize.
WP Optimize, got it.
It removes unnecessary data and optimizes the way your website stores information, which makes everything run faster. It's like defragmenting your hard drive. It makes things more efficient.
I like that. So we've decluttered our plugins, we've swept out the digital cobwebs. What's next?
Now we need to talk strategy. How do we keep our websites from getting cluttered again?
Yeah, we don't want to go through all this just to end up back where we started in a few months.
Right, so the first principle is quality over quantity. Resist the urge to install every shiny new plugin you come across.
Shiny object syndrome. I'm guilty of that.
We all are. But really ask yourself, do I actually need this plugin? Is it going to help me achieve my goals, or am I just adding it because it looks cool?
So be intentional. Really think about your needs.
Exactly. And the second principle is this. Consider investing in custom solutions. Now, this doesn't mean you have to become a coding wizard overnight.
Right. Not all of us are programmers.
Exactly. But even learning some basic coding skills can empower you to do some simple things yourself without relying on a plugin. Or if you have the budget, consider hiring a developer to create specific functionalities tailored to your exact needs.
So it's about finding the right solution for your situation.
Exactly. Sometimes a plugin is the best option, but sometimes it's not. And the benefits of this more streamlined approach are huge. I mean, we're talking about consistently faster loading speeds, which is great for your visitors and for your search engine rankings.
SEO goal.
Right.
It all comes back to the user experience.
It really does. And this is about more than just making your site run faster. It's about making it more sustainable, more manageable. A leaner website is easier to maintain. You spend less time dealing with updates, troubleshooting problems, worrying about security issues.
It's like taking a deep breath and feeling that weight lift off your shoulders.
Exactly. And those faster site speeds, they have all sorts of positive knock-on effects. Better search engine rankings, happier users, higher conversion rates. That's what we're aiming for. We want your website to be a powerful tool for your business, not a source of stress and frustration.
So this brings us to the big question for everyone listening. Be honest with yourself. How is your website doing right now? Is it working for you, or are you constantly fighting against it?
If you're constantly dealing with performance issues, security alerts because of plugins, conflicts that break your site, even though you're trying your best to keep things up to date, it might be time to really consider a change.
That might be time to let go.
It might be time to let go of those problematic plugins, maybe even rethink your whole approach.
It's okay to start fresh.
It is. And as we talked about, if you're feeling like WordPress just isn't cutting it anymore, there are other options out there. Platforms like Webflow might be a better fit for your needs.
So you have options. You have the power to take control. Don't let your website be held hostage by outdated plugins. Don't let it be a source of stress.
You deserve better.
Yes. And that's what this website detox is all about. It's about getting back to basics, simplifying, streamlining, and creating a website that truly works for you, not against you.
A website that supports your goals.
Exactly. So here's a thought I want to leave you with. What is a slow, bloated website costing you? I mean, really think about it. How many potential customers are you losing? How much time are you wasting?
How much stress is it causing you?
Exactly. Are you getting the results you want? If not, it might be time for a change.
It's definitely something to think about.
It's time to reclaim your website.